I'm at Gorton Cemetery, situated on the southeast side of Manchester. This is a very large cemetery, as you would expect from a metropolis like Manchester. So let me start with the first monument I come to. Kate, the beloved wife of Obed Wolstenholme, 1923, and Obed Edom, the beloved husband of above, and Sarah Ellen, Nellie and Lily May at the bottom. Close by, Margaret Mary, known as Maggie, the wife of Robert Stone, 1930, and Fred, their son, died aged 30. He was secretary of the Union Chapel Sunday School, West Gorton. Beneath that we have some other names. Mary Elizabeth Earlham, wife of Ashton Earlham. A little bit further down, Private John Earlham, 8th ARD, don't know what that is, missing in Gallipoli, 1915, age 20. Gallipoli was where the Australians suffered horrendous losses, and obviously some Brits were out there too. A few stones further along we get mention of the war again. Halfway down, Sergeant Benjamin Challenger, the beloved son of Benjamin and Harriet Challenger, who died through war service, 1919, age 28. And Joseph Challenger, P-O-R-N, I think the R-N is probably Royal Navy, so it could be Petty Officer Royal Navy, who lost his life in the Battle of Jutland, 1916, age 24. So what I think we're saying is these were two brothers that died. Terrible loss. Close by the entrance is the War Memorial. The 14 names behind are only those who are buried in the cemetery but have no individual headstone. No one's quite clear in which grave they're buried. Close by is this stone that honours those that died in the service of their country but are buried in Gorton Brookfield Unitarian Churchyard. And we have three names under there: Pilot Officer Atkinson, Lance Corporal Marsden and Private Wood. Amongst the more established stones we have quite a lot of infilling with new graves. There's a whole area of them just here. This one is very well kept and looked after, and it has the Manchester United badge and a football. Jonathan Martin Dixon, and there is an image on there. In fact, the whole gravestone is a shirt, presumably a football shirt. A very modern grave for a child, and with a very decorative stone. The name is Tiger John Fitzgerald. It doesn't give any dates, but obviously fairly recent. Up behind the grave, on a tree stump, they've actually carved another Winnie the Pooh and put Tiger underneath it. On the left of this one we have a monk carrying a child balanced on a book, I've seen that once again recently, a monk carrying a child. I'm not quite sure of the significance. This is James O'Connor, or Jean, the wife of James O'Connor, and beloved mother of Irene and Mary. And beneath that we have other names. This one to Julie Whelan, Julia. The stone is covered with the shamrocks, the arch of shamrocks. At the front we have the Irish flag. At this one we've got Scott Paul Whitehead, man like Scott, and he was 32, but they've also put a sort of cardboard cutout of the chap concerned. Makes it a little bit more personal. It's another recent child's grave. Your wings were ready but my heart was not. In loving memory of Minnie May Proctor. The dates are covered up by the banner they put around the stone. This one to Kelly Louise Ann Edge, age 30. And beneath the stone we have pictures of what presumably are her children. And across here is a group photograph, lots of children. And up here is a cutout, presumably of Kelly. This very cared for memorial has the Manchester City badge on the left, and over on the right hand side, I can show you around here, it has the Manchester United badge. And so presumably Kevin, Gary Lynch and Philip Lynch supported the opposing teams of Manchester. A very large grave with a paved area around it. It's a double width plot, and it's for a little lad who was not quite 2 years old when he died, baby David McDonough, and there is a picture of him there. And immediately behind that and adjoining it is Margaret Bernadette, probably his mother, I'm guessing. Very expensive monument to her. And over here there is a bench in stone. A lot of time and trouble spent here. Close by is this elaborate memorial to a baby, our Sleeping Beauty, 18th of May 2021, Valentina Rose Gallagher. And more Irish names in this monument, which is in the same area as the past two or three I've shown you. We've got three memorials here with the Italian flag, and the surname on all three is Camillo. Domenico Camillo, Angela Camillo and Giovanni. A heartfelt epitaph for Mrs. Dorothy Dando, a wife, a lover, a partner, a mother. This woman is my life. Keep her safe until I come to her. Lord, you know our love will never end. You will never be forgotten, my darling, by any of us, me or our girls. We will love you forever. A little story behind this one. Lawton Bentley Coupe, Tony. He died as a result of an accident. 1961, aged 42. and then his wife Constance, who lived to be more than twice his age, 86. This one has a very stylised angel, quite different, hanging over the heart. Damien McCree, he died in 2004. And nearby another one, a little different but similar concept, Leila Louise Maureen Hennessy. And then alongside that, again something different, a rather chubby angel, Patricia Ann Sugru, 2015. Nice to see a different design. Clearly a very cared for monument to Clarkey, Andrew David Clark, tragically killed, aged 27 years. And down here we have all sorts of stones with wishes and thoughts from members of the family. One here with Mickey Mouse, Kathleen Ward, and the child was just 4 days old when he died, so she probably knew very little about Mickey Mouse, or Minnie Mouse I should say. But here it is on the memorial to Kathleen Ward. In this newer part of the graveyard there are a lot of expensive memorials where people have bought double or even triple plots to be able to put more elaborate stones up to their loved ones. This one has an enormous plot, railings round it, and the name in the colours of the Irish flag, Tom Joyce, and a very large gold coloured figure of Christ. And this is to Thomas Brendan Vincent Joyce and Thomas Edward Michael Joyce. And a little lower down we have an image of one of the Joyces. This one has the colours of Manchester City, James Tilbury, 1981, and his wife Kathleen. I believe I'm right in saying that Manchester City Football Club was actually formed here in Gorton, although it's no longer here. This is the original home of Man City Football Club. An extraordinary elaborate one here for John Joseph Daniel Noonan. Everything's in gold around the side. All these bits here are in gold colour. But what I like best about this memorial is here on the back. And we have a picture of the gentleman concerned and his family. There is just so much to see, and this is only the more modern part of the graveyard. I've not really looked at the older section yet. Lots of fascinating memorials and people remembered and loved. Let's try and give you an impression of how large this cemetery is. That's the driveway down towards the gate we came in. But as far as you can see, there are more memorials. And it's a nicely kept cemetery. The grass is low, the weeds are non-existent, the trees are under control. This one to Norman Porter, aged 62 years. And I just love this inscription. Here lies a good man who loved his family, music and football. 1948 to 2011. Sadly taken before the Man City win at Wembley. The team obviously meant an awful lot to him. There are more young children's graves, modern graves here. Tyler Riley Mackenzie Williams. Beautiful son. He was just over 6 months when he died. But again, we've got Winnie the Pooh. An enormous pair of ears, a silhouette of Mickey Mouse. This is for Ethan Kyle Turner, who was almost 5 years old when he died. And if we look down here, we get a picture of the lovely little lad he was. And another one to a 6-month-old child, Noah Jesse McGrath. Very colourful. Probably much as they would have decorated the bedroom and the cot that the child was in, should the child have lived a little longer. And this one to a 5-month-old child, our Superman, Kobe Joshua Friel, forever 5 months old. A very odd memorial, presumably made in a workshop garage. Bits of pipe, spiky bits on the arms and at the top, a base and pushing into the ground, a flower holder on the front, and there is a nut and bolt on the front where presumably there used to be a nameplate, but now it's gone. Next to it is Vickers, but I think that's a separate grave. But someone's built their own memorial here. It's lasted, but lost the inscription. As I work my way back towards the older graves, immediately you start seeing the stones of the war graves. I can see 2 there, 4 more over there. Another one just coming into view. 2 or 3 over there. And everywhere I look in this area, there are war graves. This one picked at random for Private W.F. Deakin of the Parachute Regiment, Army Air Corps, 1943, age 21. And then down at the base, the family have put on, "Those who loved you most are the ones that miss you so, Mother." I've come to an area now where there are many stones in neat rows, all exactly the same height. Now in some parts these are called guinea graves, where they are shared graves and shared memorial stones. These are for families who couldn't afford the full cost of a stone and a full burial. This stone here has 5 names on it. Presumably they're buried immediately in front of the stone. And they're all dated consecutively in 1931 in this case. William E. Taylor, Alice Johnson, Wilfred Hollingsworth, David Wood, Mary J. Massard. No family connections at all, just as they died and as they paid to be put in these common graves. When I go back a couple of rows, you see the dates have moved back in time. 8 names on here, all from 1928. Sarah Coxhines, Henry Egerton, Florence Farthing, Harry Taylor, Joseph Booth, Thomas Worthington, Arthur Brown, Ronald Bacon, and there's one at the bottom there which has worn away. This one lists 10 names from the end of 1927 and then through January 1928. What I've just discovered is that these stones are double-sided. This is not the same stone, but this stone on the back, or what I thought was the back, has another 10 names listed from 1943. and another list of names on the other side of the stone. So these are what is known in some parts as guinea graves. That may not have been the cost here, but it was a lesser charge to have your relatives buried in a common grave with a common headstone. This one's lying at a bit of an angle, but an interesting inscription. Arthur Coop, driver, 1856. John William Hawley, fireman, born 1868, of the Locomotive Department, Bellevue, killed in a collision on the Midland Railway at Sharnbrook. And on the base, this memorial is erected by their fellow workmen. Clearly a very soft patch of ground here. All the stones are leaning at a crazy angle, unlike the rest of the cemetery, where stones seem to maintain their verticalness. This is a massive block of granite, must be a couple of tons in weight, and you would not want to be around when that one falls. The inscription is to George Henry, husband of Margaret Riley, who died in 1920. And this huge one looks to be having the same sort of fate. William, the beloved husband of Ada Lawton, 1918, in his 36th year, and Ada, who died in her 58th year. Nearby, a very low but easy to read inscription on this one. Private John Fletcher, Machine Gun Corps Infantry, died December 1919 on war service, aged 20 years. And this one too is falling forward. On the top we have an image of a biplane. As we come down, we see the insignia of the RAF, and on the base we read Lieutenant Samuel Davison, DCM, Distinguished Conduct Medal, pilot in the Royal Air Force, killed while flying in Kent, November 30th, 1918, aged 28 years. And right next to these older stones is a couple of modern stones with something a little different. We haven't seen this design of angel before on a monument, and it's Karen Ann Lyle, and she died, she was 28 years old. And this one with the prancing horse, Patrick Joseph Irwin. I see he's wearing his Man United shirt, and there's a Manchester United badge on the right hand side. This one, when I first came into the graveyard, there was a young man sat on the seat here just gazing at the grave, and I had a chance to talk to him. He told me that Dylan, who was 21 years old, was just a very good friend of his, and that he had died on his motorcycle. And there is a picture of the bike. Just very meaningful to find a teenager sat at his friend's graveside, just thinking. I'm going to draw this to a conclusion here. This is a large cemetery. There's a lot to see, both new and old, and it's really well looked after. Really a joy to be here. If you get a chance, come down to Gorton. Just have a look at this cemetery. Certainly ranks very high in the ones that I visited. Till the next time.